Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Luscious. Today I'm going to be talking to you about my gaming and streaming PC setup, which cost me around £1,000. So it's relatively budget, but obviously I don't want to offend people by saying it's budget, but it was a budget build for me over the 5 years or so that I've been building this setup. I hope nobody takes it the wrong way by me saying that it was budget. It was my budget while I was building it, if that makes sense. And yeah, so I'm going to speak you through my PC specs, my monitors, and everything in my setup, and we're just going to talk about it. So yeah, that's all for this little intro for the video. Let's get into it. Alright, so a quick disclaimer before the video starts. I am not a PC expert, so don't take everything I say too seriously. I just wanted to show you guys my setup, and hopefully you enjoy the video. Okay, so let's first of all talk about my PC specs. My PC specs aren't the best, they're a little bit dated. Starting off, for example, my CPU, I rock the Ryzen 5 2600, which is a Ryzen 2000 series CPU, and it's on the budget side of like really good CPUs. So the Ryzen 5 2600 is a relatively budget CPU that's powerful enough to game and stream at the same time. It's a 6-core processor and it has 12 threads. I don't know a lot about all that PC parts because I've only been playing on PC for like the last year or so, but basically it's a powerful CPU for the price of around £125 at the minute. When I bought it, it was a little bit more. So I've had this CPU for around a year now, and there has been absolutely nothing wrong with it, no complaints whatsoever. The only slight problem with it at the minute is that I'm streaming every single day, so it's sometimes not as smooth as I'd like it to be, but other than that, it's pretty much perfectly fine to game and stream on, which is just like super good for the price. Obviously it's dated now because the Ryzen 3000 series are out, and they've been out for like a year now. But I built this PC just before the 3000 series came out, and I was on a budget, like I say. My PC, when I built it, cost me around £700, but you could probably get all the parts all together now for just under £700, maybe even £600 to be honest at this point. So yeah, that is my CPU, the Ryzen 5 2600. I would 100% recommend. So now we're going to go to my GPU. My GPU is a GTX 1060 6GB. So this GPU is like the mid-tier of the last series of GTX graphics cards. The 1060 is good enough to run any games above 60 frames pretty much, alongside the CPU that I have at the minute. The main games I play, Minecraft, Valorant, those sort of games, I can get anywhere. Well, Minecraft I can get up to like 300, 400 frames on. Valorant can get to about 150 frames. Honestly, this CPU and GPU combo works so well that I just can't even complain about it for the budget, for the price. Like, it's perfect for exactly what I want to do. Obviously, if you're looking to play more intense games, like games that are heavier on your CPU and GPU, then obviously you're going to need a better one. What I mean by games that are heavier on the GPU and CPU are games like Red Dead 2, GTA 5. The games that are like really graphics based, you're going to need a more powerful processor and GPU to run at higher settings. So the next thing in my PC is the RAM. Obviously, I run two 8GB sticks of Corsair Vengeance RAM, and honestly, you only need 16GB to run most games. I could be completely wrong here, and people might slap me in the comments for saying that, but I don't believe that you need 32 gigs. It's not necessary, but obviously it helps. So the more RAM you have, the better it's gonna be. But 16 gig, you can't go wrong with, in my opinion. I think 8 gig is too low. 32 gig, why not? If you have the money, do it. But 16 gig, it's perfectly fine. I forgot to mention that all these parts are on the Asus Prime B450MA motherboard, which is basically your baseline 450 motherboard. It's around £75. It's stayed that price for a long time, and it is that price still now. But you can't really go wrong with it for your first PC, for a budget build like this. It's just your standard motherboard. There's nothing super fancy about it. It just gets the job done. So I also rock a 128GB SSD and a 2TB hard drive in my PC. You can get these for around like £35 for the SSD. I think, maybe a little bit less, and around 50 for the 2TB hard drive. That's how much mine cost anyway. You've got to get yourself an SSD in any PC build, in my opinion. In 2020, you have to have an SSD in there. It just speeds up everything that you put on there. So putting your Windows operating system on there, it's like boots up your PC just 10 times faster than it would if it was just on a hard drive. SSD is a must. Hard drive, get as much storage as you feel you need. It depends what you're going to be saving onto your PC. So yeah, my power supply is a EVGA 650 watts power supply. I don't know everything about PCs, as you're clearly realising. I'm just speaking you through my PC setup. But I don't think you need any more than 650 watts unless you're really packing some punch in your PC build. You can look at other more informed videos about that, but that's just what I think and I've been led to believe. So don't take my word, do some more research, but I would say 650 watts for this build is perfectly fine, and for any builds very similar. And all this is put together in my Cooler Master case, which is not the tempered glass side panel one because I was on a budget, so I couldn't even afford that extra £10. It's just the plastic side panel, which is perfectly fine. It just adds that little less bit of quality than you would have if you got the tempered glass side panel, but it's perfectly fine for me. I've also bought recently 2 more fans to go inside this build, and I just need to get a fan split for those, because I would recommend putting a few more fans in there, maybe two more fans or 3 more fans. But I've had it for a year now and there's been no problems with the overheating or anything. I just think that adding that extra bit of airflow with a couple more fans, you can never go wrong with. So now onto my peripherals. I rock the Razer DeathAdder V2 mouse, which is the most recent DeathAdder that Razer released. I recently upgraded to this mouse after using a Razer Abyssus 2014 mouse for the last 6 years. I can't really say an awful lot about the Razer DeathAdder because if you know anything about mice, you know that the DeathAdder is one of the most popular gaming mice of all time. It's made perfectly to fit your hand and the shape of your hand, especially if you just play with full hand on your mouse rather than the claw or anything like that. Either way, it's a super good mouse. It's got 7 buttons, 2 for the DPI, 2 on the side and your left and right click, and then it has 1 underneath which is to save a profile on it, which is crazy. It even has built-in storage on the mouse. Yep, and then I move on to my keyboard, sticking with Razer. I have the Razer Ornata Mecha Membrane keyboard. It's part mechanical, part membrane. It's like their hybrid version of it. So you get a feel of a mechanical keyboard at the same time, and a little bit of the clickiness of a mechanical keyboard. It's very different to membrane and mechanical in my opinion. It feels very different to either. That's obviously because it's a hybrid of both. I don't know, I think it's a super comfy keyboard, and I have never personally gone wrong with Razer. I know a lot of people have their opinions on Razer, but I've never ever gone wrong with Razer products. I know people say they're overpriced, but I don't care. I think the build quality is just that little bit better. You can say what you want, you have your own opinions, but this is just my opinion. That's what I think. So my monitors is a funny one because I have a budget 74Hz monitor for my main gaming monitor. It's an Acer monitor. It's perfectly fine for your first monitor, apart from the fact that it has no height adjustment, so I'm looking down. I need to get a new monitor, which I'm doing soon, but yeah, it's nothing special. 74Hz gets the job done, plays the games. I don't know, it's nothing special really. Then my second monitor is a Dell monitor. I don't know if I'm even going to be able to find the link to this monitor because I got it for free off my dad's friends. Your second monitor, if you're streaming and you're not gaming on it, you're just going to be doing some multitasking on it. You don't need to pay big money for your second monitor. Just get a monitor that's going to do your multitasking fine, and that's all you need, honestly. There's no point overspending, in my opinion, on a second monitor that you're not even going to play any games on. You don't really need the quality to be like spot on with. So my camera that I use for my face cam and I use for my videos is one of the most expensive things in this build, in this whole setup. I have the Canon EOS 250D. It's a perfectly good camera. It's a DSLR, but it's one of the relatively cheaper DSLRs because DSLRs can go so expensive. But it's a DSLR and it's a super good quality camera. And I just have a light on top, which I bought recently. It's an LED panel to sit on the hot shoe mount, and just gives me that extra bit of lighting in the background with the LEDs. I don't know. I think it looks a lot better with the light on and the LEDs in the background than if I was just recording without the light or without the LEDs or anything. It makes a huge difference. Other than that, I use the Razer Kraken V2 headset. I've had it for about 3 years now. super sturdy. Probably gonna need a new headset soon though, to be honest. And I use the Blue Yeti microphone with just a random boom arm that I found and a random pop filter. The Blue Yeti gets a lot of hate for not being that good. It's fairly expensive, but you're gonna have to pay a little bit more for that high-end quality for like a mixer and all that stuff. But yeah, that is it for the actual video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you disagree with any of my opinions, please let me know. I'm interested to see what any of you guys think. I live stream on Twitch every single day except Sundays at 11 PM. That is English time. So come join us. We have an awesome community being built and we have a lot of fun there. So I'd appreciate if you stop by. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know any opinions in the comments and I will see you guys next time.